What's up, YouTube? This Geeky Acrylics video is a full reveal of the commissioned Venom Funko I've been working on. My client messaged me with a really fun concept. He wanted a custom Venom with a gnarly tongue that was destroying colorful plushies. I thought the idea was super dope and I got really inspired. I knew right away that I wanted to build off the standard Venom Funko, but really give him a more sinister mouth and dramatic tongue, really go big with it. So I had to bust out the super sculpty polymer clay. One specific request was to convert Venom from a bauble to a standard Funko head. I really hate that Marvel and Star Wars Funkos all have baubles, but this conversion is a process I've done several times, so if you're interested, I'll link my tutorial in the description below on how you can convert a bauble to a standard. I also knew I would need an elaborate base with some height that could support the tongue. I basically knew I wanted to kind of swoop downwards, wrap around a plushie, but it needed somewhere to sit to hold that weight. So thinking of Venom, he's usually followed by destruction, so I decided to go with rubble and a broken pillar. I bolted out the pillar with aluminum foil to give extra durability. I textured the pillar and the base to give a rough rock-like feel, because sometimes it's the details that really make the pieces pop. I also had to remove the original tongue. The Funko tongue is just too tiny to be worthy of a Venom custom, so that had to go. For the custom tongue, I needed durability and flexibility, so I used a combo of aluminum foil and bacon bond. I have a full tutorial coming about the usefulness of bacon bond, but basically for this allowed me to keep flexibility in the tongue so I could kind of move it around, curl it around the plushie, determine like the height and everything, and kind of gauge how this was going to look in the end. But then in the end, after baking, it would also strengthen the durability of the tongue after baking. So really glad I did that. The tongue came out really well. And this is another time that texture really comes into play. Looking at some of the artwork, and the stuff from the movie, it's like Venom's tongue isn't smooth. He has texture to play with. And, this is really the most fun I've ever had with a commissioned piece. For the mouth, again, we're going bigger. I love the art where you just see how sinister Venom's mouth can get and how the, symbiote, tendrils, pull up the sides. He's got a really cool look to him. He's just a really cool character, and I've been wanting to create a custom Venom for a while, but, just waiting for the right inspiration, the perfect time, and this is really it. Obviously here I started with more clay than I needed, blocking out the shape, but I just carved it down to what I needed and then went to work on the details. The existing Funko mouth just, didn't do the character justice, so it was really exciting to get to create this look. I knew I was going to add texture around the head too, so I basically just wanted to go in and kind of line the eyes and just add some more depth there. You really want those Venom eyes to pop. When you think of Venom, you think of those haunting eyes. So it was really important to really capture the creepiness of the mouth and the hauntingness of the eyes. The teeth definitely needed an upgrade as well, and I did my best to make long, menacing fangs worthy of Venom, but they really never looked spot on pre-paint. Sometimes I question myself if the head sculpt and the teeth were a little off, felt a little awkward. I was really confident going in, and then it looked kind of weird. But I kept telling myself, when you're kind of in the middle of art project, it tends to go through that awkward phase. So I just told myself to push through, and I'm glad I did. Like, once you get to the painted part, like, I started putting the paint down. I was like, hell yeah, this is definitely Venom. The step for kind of creating this whole piece was all over the place because I knew I had to save the tongue for last. That I couldn't bake it earlier because it really had to be posed and placed and bonded and then baked. So I focused on building up the base first. So you'll see I paint this way before I even, finish the body. I basically just base it with black primer on the pillar and the base and stuff. And then I go in and add like the stone color, just dry brushing it on. It really makes those textures come out once you do that and you just kind of dry brush it on like that. For the body, I wanted to go minimal. I wanted to add some texture to tie it all together, but not so much so that I took away from the head. The head and the tongue were basically like the focal points of this piece for me. I really wanted to have those tendrils creeping up the base too, which, it wasn't too hard to create and add these little details in. I've already venomized a base for my previous Venom Funko. So this felt pretty easy jumping back into. And, when you see it, like, I'm kind of like building it up little by little. Like, I'll piece it together, see how it looks, and decide, okay, I'll add this, I need that, and kind of placing all together. But once it's all baked and getting down to all the painting, that's where this piece really comes to life and the textures really show. Luckily, my black primer is really fluid, so brushing it into all the grooves wasn't too bad. As you'll know from my previous videos, I do prefer to brush on my primer instead of spraying it on. And I knew ahead of time that because I was sculpting on the body and everything, I was going to need to repaint the whole thing. And so I made a little tiny stencil of the logo early on, and I'm glad I did that. But of course, sketching out the logo for his chest, I didn't record that. I was in there with a tiny brush, just getting that detail in there. So yeah, that was done off cam. For the mouth, I could have gone a little more natural with the colors, but this was for a custom PC build. And the color palette was bright shades of pink, purple, teal. So I really wanted to tie that into the mouth and the base. He still looks like a menacing Venom, but the vibrant color is, I don't know, it's just fun. I really think it works here. And this is kind of the point where, I got the base coat down and I really started to relax and say, okay, this works, the teeth work, like the mouth, everything, like this is Venom. And I started with a bone color like base for the teeth, but then, looking at some pretty like awesome sculptures and detailed art and stuff of Venom, I realized, I need to put some darker tones around like the bottom of his teeth. Like you can definitely tell from a lot of the artwork, I don't think Venom has a toothbrush, so we just went really, really gnarly with it. The plushies and graffiti clips where I'm like going in and adding those details, I'm not really sure what happened to the footage there. I don't know. There was a couple times where I didn't realize that it wasn't recording. You think I'd be doing this long enough to realize, oh, hey, it's not recording. But yeah, it still happens. So sorry about that. But I think I captured most of the process here for you guys. Seeing this Venom come to life. I'm really happy with this piece, how it turned out. I baked and painted, bonded everything together, the plushies, Venom to the base, everything. And then like the tongue was pretty much the final step. So basically it was baked multiple times, like in separate pieces, bonded together as an almost whole piece, and then adding the tongue in, flexing it into the place it needed to be, curled around the plushie that was already baked, and then sticking it back in, bake and bond, rebaked, and just carefully painting around, you know, what I had already finished. So that was a kind of a challenge, just going in and being really slow and careful with the tiny paint brushes, the smallest ones I could get, and just carefully paint that tongue. And again, this was so much fun to create. Shout out to my client who gave me a cool concept and creative freedom. He really trusted me to bring this custom to life, and he seemed really happy with it, and that makes me happy. This was so much fun. So yeah, I hope you enjoyed this video. I hope you'll consider smashing the like button for the YouTube algorithm, subscribing if this is content that you like. I have more coming up. Dropping comments will help. Let me know in the description what characters you think deserve customs. If you have any questions about the process, I will link some of my tutorials in the description below, some helpful links, some of my materials, my shop where you can find some of my finished one-of-a-kind customs and painted pieces. I have a Venom pool time-lapse in the works and some new tutorials. And I will hopefully catch you on the next one. Bye-bye.